Okay, so the issue that I wanted to discuss is in what ways is special education an issue of social justice? I definitely do feel that it is an issue of social justice. When special education rights, when IDEA came about, what they were seeing was that kids were excluded from their general education peers. They weren't even allowed to go to the same schools, which, this was also around the civil rights time when people were not allowed to go to schools based on their color. So that's obviously unacceptable. But, you know, kids deserve a free and appropriate education. And all learning needs, cultures, races need to be considered because kids, they learn different, but also their backgrounds are different. And so we want to make sure that teachers are culturally competent. It is impossible to know every culture and beliefs and, that you're going to come, that's going to be in your classroom. Kids are going to be just all so unique and different, but it's the sensitivity that you have to consider. And just knowing that even when teaching lessons, just kind of knowing what's appropriate and what would not be appropriate. And so that just really means that education is, as far as for teachers, is never ending because you can't ever know it all. Um, and so even that exposure of, you know, just because you have African American students, um, they're going to be different. I've always worked in Title I schools, so this is my 14th year. Um, and so my kids have lower socioeconomic status. Not all the time, but that's what comes with Title One. So sometimes it might be 50% of the kids do. I've worked at a school where 99% of my kids receive free and reduced lunch. So, but don't ever assume anything. Just know that, yeah, you're going to have more kids at risk. So, anyway, so one of the things is family engagement, trying to help those parents become advocates for their kids, um, and just knowing their rights. The sad thing is, you know, it's wrong for these kids to be represented, to have this high representation, and these kids being over referred, that are in minority groups, but we're still seeing it, especially after COVID, which, as we know, there was a period of almost 3 years where education could have just been a lot better. I'm not saying we can blame someone, because no one knew we were going to hit a pandemic, but we have 3 years of kids not getting the proper reading instruction. And those are critical years, especially when you think about second to fifth grade, first through fourth grade. And I noticed this last year. I just had tons of kids. I was just, wow, like I was overwhelmed by the amount of kids that were referred. And I just think, wow, like if we could have intervened, you know, and helped just in those reading areas and in those basic math skills areas, could we have helped those kids and brought them a little higher? And so that's just an ongoing issue. We could do more. Um, but one issue I'm seeing, is, like I was saying, just making sure that, we consider all kids and make sure that, education is appropriate. You want kids to be able to access what's appropriate for them. You want to make sure that they have access to the general education curriculum, you know, whatever level is most appropriate for that child. So, but yes, it is an issue of social justice. The problem is if we continue to refer kids and overrepresent them, we're going to fail them. Sometimes with discipline issues, you know, we know what road that leads to. They might get higher referrals for suspension, alternate placement. If they end up in alternative schools being expelled, you're going to have lower graduation rates. But sometimes they give up on themselves too, because they feel like we've given up on them. And we just can't do that. And that's where that family engagement also comes into play. But so yes, I do feel it is an issue of social justice. I do think we can do better. And I'm so glad that I guess I'm in school right now so we can all collaborate together and I can read up on it. And I know I can't change the world, but just helping my own students and helping my teachers, and they help me. You guys are helping me. I feel like I'm always learning, but it's impossible to know everything. So, but anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.